So this is video 6 about the visions and dreams. And my first vivid vision, I was not dreaming. It was an open vision. I was an unbeliever and I was about to commit suicide. I got up, I lay down on my bed and I was determined. I was thinking how I'm going to do this. And I figured it out. I said, okay, this is the way I'm going to do it. I got up from my bed. And when I stood up, I felt strange. I looked back behind me on my bed, and I saw my body on my bed. And I looked to the front again, and everything in front of me disappeared. And it was like a ladder, steps right in front of me. And those steps were going up to heaven. That was my first time. I never have a vision like that. So I on that vision, I went up the steps and I sat down on top. As far as my eye could see, I could see the universe. I see the planets, I see the sun, I see the moon, I see all the planets, all the stars, as far as my eye could see. I know I was in the light, but I was not burning. The light is brighter than the sun. And everything, I see everything moving. Everything was moving. No noise. It was peaceful. I don't think in heaven, in space, you hear any noise. It's probably completely silent. That's what I believe. So anyway, and I got to the top of the steps and I sat down. And like I said, I was looking all over. And suddenly everything stopped. And for the first time, the only time that I heard God speak, He spoke to me. And He said, I got life for you. He stopped talking and everything started moving again. It's like when God speaks, everything stops. I heard that and I came downstairs again and I sat in the middle of my body. And how can I say this? My body opened the eyes. And I was looking at the body and I'm face to face how horrible the body is because of sin. And I'm looking at my spirit, how glistering it was because it was in the glory of Lord, of God. I say my spirit, but I think it's my soul. It was my soul. Because the body without the spirit is dead, but the body without the soul is dead too. And I thought to myself, I don't want to go back in that body, but I have no control of that. God have control. So I went back and I lie down again on my body, and everything shook. Everything shook. Even my neighbor heard when my bed was shaking. Because he asked me later, he knocked on my door, and he asked me, what happened? What happened, JC? And I didn't want to tell him. I said, I just have a nightmare. That's why I said. Why? Because, like I said, I was an unbeliever, and never like that happened to me. This is the first time. And then years later, when I'm reading the Bible, I find in Genesis 28, Jacob's ladder. Now there were angels of God in Jacob's ladder. I didn't see no angels, but the ladder was there. And the ladder, it was brilliant. It was like gold, going up to heaven. And that was my first time. I will share some more.